Mirrors have always been more than mere reflections. They're gateways, whispers of worlds beyond ours. And among all the legends tied to these haunted portals, none are as terrifying as Bloody Mary. Most people think they know the story. A vengeful spirit, a chant in front of a mirror, and a flash of terror. But what if I told you that the truth is far darker, far bloodier? Tonight, we'll dive deep into the origins of Bloody Mary, uncover cases where she was truly summoned, and finally, teach you the correct way to call her. But be warned, knowledge has its price, and ignorance might just save your soul. Bloody Mary's origins are not just a children's game. Her story begins in the cold winter of 1577, in a remote English village called Blackstone Hollow. Mary Worthington was the daughter of the town's midwife, Elizabeth Worthington, a woman feared by the locals for her knowledge of herbs and darker practices. Mary's life was drenched in tragedy. At the age of 16, her family was accused of witchcraft after several infants in the village were born stillborn, their faces mangled. Her father was hanged, and her mother burned at the stake. Mary was left to fend for herself, ostracized by the community. Years later, the village began to whisper again, this time about Mary. They claimed she had discovered a way to commune with the dead. Villagers who peered into their mirrors at night reported seeing Mary's face, twisted, bloody, and grinning. Then, one by one, they vanished. Each victim's mirror left shattered, their rooms soaked in blood. In 1583, the final entry in the parish records reads, "Mary Worthington was dragged to the woods and dismembered. But even in death she promised vengeance. Find me in the mirror, and I will find you in the flesh." And so the legend began. But make no mistake, this is no folklore. Mary Worthington was real, and she waits. Before I teach you the proper way to summon her, let me share the horrifying stories of those who dared to call Bloody Mary and paid the ultimate price. In the summer of 1978, 14-year-old twins Alice and Claire Foster dared each other to summon Bloody Mary in the attic of their family home. It was supposed to be a game. The girls lit 3 candles and repeated the name 13 times. What followed is unspeakable. Neighbors reported hearing screams that night, animalistic and guttural. When police arrived, they found the attic walls smeared with blood. Alice was curled in a corner, her eyes clawed out, whispering, "She's here, she's here." Claire's body was found hanging from the rafters, her face shredded as though by broken glass. The case was ruled a murder-suicide. But Alice's final words in the hospital haunt the records. She's still in the mirror. In 2003, 22-year-old college student Jeremy Beaumont attempted to call Bloody Mary as part of a fraternity dare. But Jeremy wanted to take it further. He placed a knife on the sink and cut his hand before saying her name, letting his blood drip onto the mirror. Jeremy's roommate found him the next morning. His body was twisted, his jaw unhinged, as though he had been screaming until his last breath. The mirror, now whole again, reflected Jeremy's horrified face, but Jeremy's corpse was not facing the mirror. In 1956, 3 children in the Hawthorne orphanage claimed they saw Bloody Mary in the mirror during a blackout. Within hours, all 3 were found dead in their beds. Their faces were stretched into grotesque expressions of terror, and the word "come" was scratched into each child's forehead. To this day, the room they slept in remains sealed. The mirror still hangs. Now, if you've made it this far, you may think you know how to summon Bloody Mary. But every failed attempt, every harmless game, is because you didn't follow her true ritual. Tonight, I'll reveal the right way. But I warn you, proceed at your own peril. First, you must be alone. The room must be pitch dark, save for a single black candle. No ordinary candle will do. This must be handmade, with a wick dipped in animal blood. Next, you'll need a mirror that has reflected tragedy. An antique mirror from a haunted house or a murder scene is ideal. This is the gateway. Place the mirror on the floor. Stand over it barefoot and slice your palm, letting 3 drops of blood fall onto the glass. Then repeat her name, Bloody Mary, Exactly 6 times, not 5, not 7, 6. As you chant, do not blink, do not look away. The moment you see her eyes, it's already too late. She'll decide if you're worth her time. And if she does, you'll hear a knock behind you. Do not turn around. That's when she strikes. So now you know the truth. But beware, knowing isn't enough to protect you. Because once you've heard her story, she knows you, just as well as you know her. And she waits, always.